listening to the Nick Talifero Show, and my name is Christopher Flood, the drummer Norris. I'm standing in for Nick. If you're just joining us, we just had on the show Mr. Walter Hudson. He's the chairman of the National Awareness Alliance. He was telling us about a story he's involved in Sandy Grove, New Jersey, involving a rumor of a school shooting. The father of the young man who allegedly, that's the key word, allegedly made these threats, has decided he wants to tell the story, and we're absolutely going to let him do that. Sir, thank you for joining me. He doesn't want to give his name, and we're going to respect that.
How you doing?
I'm great, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Where do you want to get started? That's an actual story that happened, or about Walter?
Oh, let's focus on the story. I don't want to make this about personality. I know there's some tension there, but I want to focus on the story itself.
Well, it started a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It was actually 4 boys, not 3. If you actually read the police report, there's actually 4 of them. The 4th one will be getting discharged.
Okay.
Now, there was 4 kids that were harassing my son every day on the way home from school. They were throwing stuff at him, yelling stuff at him. The police have been around these kids, constantly getting called on them. It was a daily occurrence. I taught my kids to start taking pictures of them doing it.
Okay.
They did. I gave all those pictures to the police. There's that evidence from that there. Now, as far as when they were dumping him, he was walking home with another friend of his, and who was also an African-American kid. And they obviously don't live in the same house, so at one point they separate. One went one way, one went the other. This group of 4 boys then followed my son. When they got behind a business, one ran up behind him, punched him in the back of the head. Another one grabbed him by his hoodie, whipped him to the ground, and then the 4 of them stomped him. What they did not realize is that parking lot had a security camera. So their story is one big lie. The next school day, they went into school and then bragged about what they did. And then all of a sudden, they get called down to the office. They're in trouble. And then they get charges pressed against them, and now they're crying racist. That is the story. That's what really happened, and that's what I have proof that happened, not Walter's fairy tale.
So are you now? I have talked to the superintendent of the school. She said that there has been discipline distributed equally among the students. She wouldn't confirm what type of discipline, and she said that there hasn't been any other instances of disruption at the middle school since this happened. So
no. My kid's been in and out of the hospital with pneumonia for the last couple weeks.
So are you saying that your child never made these threats, never taunted, never bullied the 4 African-American kids?
Could you picture one small kid bullying and yelling obscenities at 4 kids, some of them that were bigger and older than him? I mean, does that even make any sense in this world? I mean, think about that, man. This guy's out of his mind coming up with these stories. I mean, chances are these kids are going to get maybe probation, maybe paint curbs during the summer, and maybe they'll learn a lesson from this. But then Walter's got to stick his big nose in there to get his face in front of the camera and blow it way out of proportion. And all it's going to do is violate his probation by harassing me.
I just want to be clear, though. Walter said to the school and to the press, and he had the parents at the press conference there on Tuesday that was held in front of the district, that the kids, said they felt threatened because there were threats that your son would, I don't know if it would be in retaliation, take violence towards them, or if he was taking the lead on the violence, but that there were some threats. Now, I pressed Walter, and again, that's why I used the word rumor, because there is no concrete proof beyond that any threats were sent. There were,
it was hearsay, and that's exactly.
So what would be the motivation of the parents or Walter to do something like this?
Because their kids have charges pressed against them.
So
That would be the parents.
So
Walter is a whole other animal.
Why would the young men? You're saying there was 4 young men who jumped your son.
Yeah.
Was this a long-standing feud? I mean, with these young men, are you saying that they were bullying your kid?
They were throwing stuff at him and yelling stuff at him while they were walking home from school.
But why?
I don't know why, man. I don't understand why they would do that. I don't know. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it.
Have you guys decided, have you or the parents, have you talked to the parents of those who are making these accusations? Are you guys trying to seek mediation in the school to bring some resolve? I mean, where do we go from here?
If it wasn't for this whole incident with Walter Hudson, there would have been a chance for mediation.
Okay.
Because honestly, if the kids would have been punished at home, I wouldn't even care.
Okay.
As long as there's some kind of punishment. But now that this has happened, there is no chance of that. I'm just gonna continue and not drop anything. I mean, this is ridiculous. Look what they turned this into. I mean, if it was a one-on-one fight, they wouldn't even have got a phone call from them. But when 4 kids jump one from behind, there's a problem here. I mean, that shows you there is a problem with them. Let's face it, they're probably not being raised quite right if that's the reaction.
Well, now, your son is going to have to go back to school with these students, right? I mean, is there no plan to try and or you don't think you're going to send your son back?
I don't know. It might not be a safe environment now. So we'll see. I mean, I have to see counsel, and we're moving forward to that also.
And I want to be clear about this. When your son was jumped, you called the police. You filed charges. And again, that was a question I posed up to Walter. When they said they were feeling threatened, they didn't call the police. They referred this to the school. Is that in a way, when you hear that they felt threatened but they didn't call the police, does that seem right to you?
They felt threatened?
Well, the young man testified at the press conference on Tuesday that he felt threatened by your son. He didn't want to come to school. That he was being called these N-words, the homophobic slurs were being slurred. But they didn't call the police, and that was one thing that I found a little odd. That they put this in the hands of the school to deal with it instead of the police. Do you think that if they really felt threatened, they would have called the police? How do you view that?
Yes, because they're making it up. That's why. They didn't feel threatened or any of these accusations until after they received their charges. When it was just them bragging about it in school what they did, it was no big deal. It was the greatest thing ever. But once they actually got in trouble for it, then the story came. You see, what they're doing is they're teaching these kids that they can do whatever they want, and then you just cry racism, and it's okay. You'll get away with it. And then in 10 years, you'll have 4 more water husbands.
How are you and your son dealing with this story, this attention, where not just the attention, but the attention? And again, I want to close by saying, where do we go from here in that community, in that neighborhood? What's going to be the end result? And do you plan to attend the school board meeting this Monday where Walter would be?
There is absolutely no chance of me attending that school board meeting.
Okay.
I will not have Walter accuse me of anything, try and trick me, try and say I did anything. Walter will lie. He will do whatever it takes to get his face in front of the camera. So I'm not going anywhere near it. There's no shot at it, and I made it clear. If anybody that I know goes to it, they do not represent me or anything I said. My wife says or my kids say. No shot of me going there.
Last question, sir, and I really appreciate you calling in. There's always 2 sides, at least 2 sides to any story, and we definitely appreciate you telling yours. Do you feel that the school district handled this appropriately? Again, I don't know other than to say that the school district sent me a statement saying that there was discipline. They wouldn't go into detail. They wouldn't tell me the names of the children involved, and I respect all of that. But do you think that they handled this correctly? Because Walter and the parents saying that they're being too soft on this.
Well, I don't think the school should be able to punish somebody based on hearsay, period.
Okay.
Any punishment, in my eyes, is fully ridiculous. Now, if there was actual proof, then it's a different story. But this was all on hearsay, and it was after an attack on my son. See, that's the problem. I can make up anything after the fact. And you can't punish somebody based on that. There's no proof.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. I mean, honestly, does it make sense that one kid was chased and harassed 4? Does that make any sense to you?
Well, no. I mean, if you're thinking in a little sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all, because it didn't happen. And you know what? There's pictures saying that it didn't happen. I have proof. Water just has a fairy tale.
Now, I do want to ask you, I know I said the last question would be the last question, but you brought up the video proof. I was told the media after Tuesday's press conference, they tried to speak with you. Some media said they went to your home. I don't know how true that is. Is there a particular reason why you didn't speak to the media on Tuesday or before when this story first broke?
Actually, yeah, I have a job. When they were in front of my house, I was at work.
Okay.
I spoke to a reporter for 10day.com, and as soon as she spoke to me, she said, oh, this all makes sense now, and took the article down.
Okay.
He said she's been following Walter for 5 years, and this is exactly what his pattern is. Google his name, you'll see it.
Oh, I mean, I'm aware of Walter's past. I'm aware of the good work he do, too. I mean, no one's good, or all bad, right? You can concede to that.
Yeah, I just found essentially me, he's done so much bad that outweighs the good, so I wouldn't even want to help if I needed it. Because he would turn it into a circus like he's doing now.
Well, sir, I appreciate your time. You get the last word.
I just want to say, don't judge anybody if you don't know them, and don't ever listen to Warren Hudson.
Thank you, sir, for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Well, this is live radio, and with that comes surprises. We were just listening to the father of a young man who, Mr. Walter Hudson, who was a guest earlier today, is alleging was making threats to young people at the Penns Grove Middle School. We've heard at least two sides of the story. The story, I'm sure, will continue. And I think we're going to be talking with Anton Moore coming up next. Anton, let me give you some background about Mr. Moore. Mr. Anton Moore is an anti-violence activist in South Philadelphia who I've known for at least